Hello, everybody. Welcome to Most Wanted Topics. I'm your host, Kevin Dennison, along with me, Atomic Tommy, per usual. How you doing?
I'm doing great because we're in a new setup.
We are in a new setup here in beautiful Bloomington, Minnesota. We are in a secret bunker location. We talked to corporate. We got cheap-ass Kent to open up his wallet, and we got a brand new studio. And we are super excited here in the bunker. And we get to talk about some fun stuff about Most Wanted Comics.
That's right.
And I tell you what, we're super excited. We got a lot to talk about today. We are in the month of October. We're off to our kickoff with the Veep Food Drive.
Yep.
Man, I tell you what a great start. We've already filled 3 long boxes full of food for the needy. And keep in mind, folks, this goes on all month long for the month of October. So you bring in 5 or more non-perishable food items, non-expired, and you get a 15% off coupon to use on Most Wanted Comics. And you can use it every time you bring in 5 items. So you can do it. You don't have to just do it once. You can come in the next day and the next day, get 15% off. The more you bring, the more you save.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, we're super pumped. And then also coming up on the docket for your calendar purposes, October 18th, we are still partying for the Vikings because we have Viking legend Tim Irwin, former Viking tackle, and number 76, awesome number. And I tell you what, he was my favorite growing up. I loved watching Tim Irwin play. And now we've got the legend here in our well, he won't be in our studio, but he'll be at Most Wanted Comics signing autographs 5 to 7 p.m. October 18th. Come meet him, have fun, get your Viking stuff out, have him sign it, get a picture. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Just celebrate the Vikings, man. Celebrate the Vikings with a Viking. Come on.
5-0.
5-0.
I was a little nervous about that game. Again, we maybe made it closer than it had to be.
Well, I think it's perfectly natural to be nervous because we were going up against Aaron Rodgers. You know, Aaron Rodgers is no slacker.
And Darnold kind of looked like the old Darnold there that from what we knew Darnold was back in the day.
Our defense is definitely carrying the team right now.
Our defense carrying the team, and man, I tell you what. But we're happy. A win is a win again. We're going into the bye week now. We're 5-0, and October 18th we can talk Vikings with a former Viking legend.
Absolutely.
So we're excited about that. And then on Tuesday, because we're still doing our Tuesday night main events, why don't you talk about who we have coming on Tuesday?
Yeah. Tuesday, October 22nd, is the kickoff to the Timberwolves season against the Lakers. And to celebrate that, because, again, we're sports fans here. We are a comic store, but we also spell sports cards. We also like sports. To follow up the Tim Irwin, we have a former Minnesota Timberwolf legend, Gary Trent Sr., signing autographs at Most Wanted Comics from 6 to 7:30 p.m. on October 22nd, Tuesday night.
Yeah, we're super pumped about that. Doing some evening signings.
Yeah.
Not typical of Most Wanted Comics. But, hey, midweek, we Tuesday night, and then, of course, and then a Friday night. So we're not really quite on the Saturday schedule, but you know what? We've got a big announcement to make.
We do.
You know what November is at Most Wanted Comics?
Yo Jovember.
Yo Jovember, which means we celebrate G.I. Joe. And November 23rd, we now officially have confirmation Larry Hama will be at Most Wanted Comics November 23rd.
Yep.
So get your G.I. Joe comics ready to sign. Get your Wolverine comics ready to sign. Come meet a legend at Marvel Comics. We are so excited to have Larry Hama come into the store, and he'll be signing autographs from 10 to 4.
Yes,
so make sure you plan your day accordingly. And we'll put the details up. We're going to have more details coming about that, but we wanted to announce that we officially have the confirmation that he's coming.
Yeah, super exciting. He does not get out there much anymore. He does, especially not to Minnesota.
Yep.
So to have him here at Most Wanted, to be able to bring him in, is really cool for us and hopefully really cool for you guys.
Yeah, and we had him here before when I used to run the comic card shows back in the day. We were able to help bring him in.
Back in the day,
we were able to bring him in, and such a fun guy to talk to. The stories are great. If you get a chance to come and talk to him. He's got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, and we'll get, like I said, we'll have pricing and everything in the coming weeks. So make sure you follow us on mostwantedcomics.com. But let's talk about some comics that came out. Let's get Atomic Tommy's take on some stuff that came out last week and what's to come now.
Yeah, so I want to talk about All In. DC launched kind of a big book this week, probably the biggest comic book of the week because it is DC's sort of annual relaunch. They kind of do one of these. It feels like every year now, but this time DC's going all in. We're going all in at DC. Starting next week, one of the books that we got to look out for next week, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, is Absolute Batman #1. And this all-in special, one-off, one-shot, whatever you want to call it, kind of gears us up for that. Not only does it gear us up for that, but it gears us up for the future of DC, following Absolute Power and all that kind of stuff. There are tons of breakdown videos of that. I don't really want to do that because I was not a huge fan of Absolute Power, but it did lead to the rebooting or revival, however you want to call it, of the Justice League and the Justice League Watchtower, which is really cool, and we will be seeing a new Justice League title coming out in November.
Is this going to lead in to the new James Gunn era, or is that nothing to do with that?
No. It doesn't have anything to do with that because the comics are different than the movies. But, you know, they all operate under the same DC logo now, the same DC umbrella now. So they are a little bit connected, but, you know, they're still different. But the Absolute stuff we really got to watch out for because Absolute Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, this is kind of the launch of DC's Ultimate Universe. I mean, Marvel's had the Ultimate stuff going for a couple decades now, and DC's throwing their hat in the ring with Alternate Universe, sort of main, sort of a mainline Ultimate Universe to follow, Alternate Universe to follow. I keep referring to it as the Ultimate Universe because it's just essentially that, but DC. And man, we've had a lot of requests, a lot of intrigue and interest in Absolute Batman this past week.
It's going to be a hot book. We know that.
It's going to be a hot book. You know, I mean, it's a new Batman, a new kind of Batman. That stuff's always going to be popular. But one of the criticisms I've heard about it, and I've heard thrown around is, oh, you know, we've seen this before. DC always does this. And while I understand that, I do think it's perfectly fine and even healthy to be skeptically optimistic.
Yeah, and you know what? DC has sucked for a long time. This is their chance to start over.
Plus,
and compete a little bit in the marketplace.
This is a rare opportunity in DC. You can, at this point, jump on anywhere. There's a lot of new #1s coming out. Again, from Justice League to a new Justice Society book starting. Black Lightning, Challenges of the Unknown. There's a lot of new #1s starting. A lot of the already existing titles are going to go start new stories, new arcs, new jumping on points. Everything now is a jumping on point. So if you're looking to start reading DC,
now's the time.
Now is the time. All of these books, there will be no better time than right now. Not only are they launching a new universe to follow, but all of their titles are starting new stories and arcs. Some of them with new creative teams. So there is no better time to jump in on DC, which is partially why I'm excited for the Absolute Universe.
Well, they need it because how long have we complained and talked about it? I mean, the stuff has sucked lately, and it's like this is their chance to kind of get back into the game and compete a little bit. And I'm really excited to check out these new titles because I'm going to give them a read. Right. You got to give them a shot. And but I don't know. It depends. It depends on how bad it is in the first one.
Well,
but we'll give them a shot for sure.
I think, you know, Marvel has had a lot of success in rebooting their Ultimate stuff. I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man is the biggest Marvel title out right now. Probably outside of, like, Uncanny X-Men. You know, but Ultimate Black Panther, while not as good, is still relevant. Same with Ultimate X-Men, right? And the Ultimates. They've had a great success with these titles. Of course, DC wants to throw their hat in the ring. And I think they can do it just as good. They have the ability, they have the characters, they have the setup. They can do it just as good. It's just a matter of can they execute on the potential that they have. I mean, Absolute Batman, I mean, we're starting with the Trinity, right? Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
The big three of DC.
The big three, you know, you have to nail it here. And there's so much potential of where we can go with this, what we can do. One of the critiques I've had of some of the Ultimate books at Marvel, and I've iterated them here on the show before, is that some of the titles don't go far enough in being different from the mainline universe. I mean, if you look at Black Panther, sure, there's subtle differences, little things here and there that separate it, but they could have gone a lot further with it, right? Ultimate Spider-Man, I think, is doing a really good job of it, but again, there are still things where it's like, oh, well, they could have changed this, they could have done that, right? And I think, and I hope that DC really does go all in and make the changes, make it unique, make it fun, and make it new.
I hope so. I forgot to ask. I didn't read the previews, and you may not know this, and that's okay because I can look when it comes out. Did we look who's writing or on the creative team for Wonder Woman?
No, I don't know. Wonder Woman is still a couple months out.
I wonder who they're going to pull off the bench.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I honestly do not know.
Here's your chance, guys. Get a good creative team. It's so important. Bring back some great. We talked about this, bringing off the bench some of the great artists and writers, and here's your chance to really knock it out of the park. Let's get these guys back in the game. Get some good story arcs. Get some consistency.
DC needs to get themselves off the bench. They need to. They've been falling drastically behind. Marvel has their problems, but they can keep up with things like X-Men and just the media and pop culture presence that Marvel has. They can keep up.
Right.
Image in the comic realm, we've talked about before. We don't need to go into it again, but they're killing it. DC does not have the Image quality. DC doesn't have the Marvel pop culture presence. They're working towards it, but they don't have it right now. They've been falling behind. Like they're running here. They're running up here. DC's all the way back here. They need to do something to get off the bench and catch up. And there's, it's been done a million times by DC, from Rebirth to New 52 to any of this stuff, but they need a relaunch. They need a jumping on point. This is one of those rare times where I think a relaunch, a reboot, a refresh, a new jumping on point is warranted, because we need a fresh start.
Yeah.
We need to get back into it.
Let me help you out, DC. Let's get some of these guys back in the game. Kenneth Rocafort, Paul Peltier, Tim Seeley. Let's get back Keith Champagne, Tom Nguyen. Let's also get back Phil Hester, Mike Grell. Let's start getting some of these guys back. Frank Fosco. Yep. Let's get these guys back in the game, doing some work that people know. Keith Williams. Let's get these guys all back in the game.
Yeah.
And let's get her going here. Let's get some consistency and bring back some of the great players.
Absolutely.
They're not retired.
They're not retired. A lot of them still look for work, man. A lot of them want to keep drawing. A lot of them do cons.
I want to keep writing. Challenge them.
I understand the wanting to bring in a new generation, bring in new people. Freshen up the talent. I understand that. But sometimes there's no school like the old school, and you got to bring them back, But anyway, there we go again. Absolute Universe starts this week. We all will have our eyes on it. It is a really big deal. And kind of the way I look at it is DC's. We've all been saying this is DC's last straw for years, but I think this really is. If they can't get ahead here, with the way new comic sales are going, interest in new comics are going, if they can't get themselves back on track here, I don't think they ever will.
It's tough.
They're giving a jumping on point to every title, and they're doing it in a way that they've never really done before. I didn't mention this before, but they're not rebooting their ongoing titles. Action Comics is still going to keep up with where they're going. They're not going to start a new number one. They're not going to start a new number one with Batman or Action Comics in the main universe. They're going to keep it going number-wise where they already are, which is something that, and Marvel's starting to do this too, but this isn't something that we see happen all the time when they do relaunch and refreshes and jumping on points like this. Usually, they'll just do a new number one, which has been a complaint that we've had for a long time, and a lot of people have had for a long time, but they're not doing that this time. Which tells me that maybe they are interested in trying to develop and do things that are good for the business. Nobody wants a million number ones. Multiple people have had that discussion. So if they can't get on track, I think this is it for them.
Yeah, and we got to find out which one Dan Jurgens is working on, because we got to do a lookout, and then we can have Dan Jurgens come to our store and maybe do a signing. So we better do a lookout for Dan Jurgens. We're gonna do a look for, and then we'll see if he can come out and play.
Let's move on to what's coming out this week besides the absolute Batman. Another good one I think is going to be Red Band Blade from Marvel. They've been really picking up the Red Band stuff lately, and some of it is better than others. Some of it could be more Red Band. Some of it probably could be a little bit less. But Blade starts. Blade's a huge character. Everybody loves Blade. And he gets a Red Band book. mini series that starts this week. That'll be really cool. Also, new issue of Transformers. Can't really go wrong with Transformers.
We love the Transformers here. Transformers is nothing but bangers every time.
Yep, and I think this is kind of the start of a new arc too, a new story. Which again, Daniel Warren Johnson, he won't be writing Transformers forever. So we gotta enjoy it while it lasts.
Well, it's been good so far.
It's been good. It's been great so far. Probably one of the best titles in comics.
I know. Who would have thought that Transformers would be beating out like a major whole line of DC comics?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who would have thought? Well, that's cool. Any other takes for the week?
I don't think so. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about this week.
Yeah, we had our big announcement. So remember, mark your calendars, November 23rd for Larry Hama, Friday, October 18th for Tim Irwin, and Tuesday, October 22nd for Gary Trent Sr.
Yep.
And don't forget, we're still helping the families that are in need. The Veep food drive going all the way through the end of October. So make sure you bring in your 5 items at least. You can bring in 1 if you want, but 5 gets you the discount at the store and the entry into the drawings. So make sure you come in and have fun with us at Most Wanted Comics. Welcome to the new studio and new setup. We're going to keep making tweaks here as we go. But you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week, everybody.